Hey everyone, so welcome to episode 8, which has been long in coming because Corona. I have been transitioning back over the last 2.5, 3 weeks now. For anyone who's been listening, I was in Asia for the last 10 months or so. Before that, I was road tripping Canada, so it's been a long, long journey. I mean, not as long as many other people. I've known people who've traveled for years. And coming back home now, I mean, already that's a pretty difficult transition as it is. Uh, for anyone who has traveled before, you're always on the road. You're pretty much always outdoors. You're constantly surrounded by people, especially in most Asian countries. It's very loud. And so having to transition back to Canada's cold weather, and then also, it was an exhausting period of time. The flight and just driving back. I couldn't even fly straight into Montreal. I had to fly to Toronto and then rent a car, come drive for 6.5 hours. Had to stay away from my family, just in case. Uh, it was quite a difficult transition. I went into an Airbnb for 2 weeks, and it was just complete silence. Completely solitary, except for the one time my family brought over some food since I couldn't go get any. And that was an interesting transition. It was very depressing. I can't say that I was filled with energy. It just went from so much sunlight, so much outdoor time, so much interaction with folks to just no sunlight, no noise, no interaction, just being stuck in Airbnb. And of course, comparatively to many other people who unfortunately have suffered a lot worse, I've had it still pretty easy. Obviously the fact that I just came back from traveling, I've had a great experience learning and discovering things and journeying, and being able to bring that back and really learn from it has been an incredible experience. So that's been really fun. I've gotten some work done. So for anyone who has visited the website, I've been working along with a really, really close, we'll say, person in my life who has been helping me slowly transition the website into something more unique, something more fun, something more cool. So we've managed to redo the theme, redo the layout. There's going to be a lot more custom stuff coming in as time goes by. The logo has been redone. We also have some new banner work that's going to be coming in. That's really, really fun. We're working with a lot of sort of doodle work, like stick figure stuff, really fun, playful things. And that eventually is going to transition into the video format, eventually having its own actual intro. And there's going to be an intro, obviously, for the podcast itself instead of just randomly me popping in. We are also, I got the podcast. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So the podcast is now available on iTunes. It's available on Spotify. It's going to be available on Google Play soon. I'm just waiting for them to review and accept it. So you can see those links on the website itself. It's going to be linked in the post as well, and I will start putting the links on the YouTube as well. So you can find the show there, GeeksnBarbells, GeeksnBarbells show. I'm not really sure how it's going to show up over there, but the links are on the main homepage of the website, and they will be on the post as I set this up. And other details, there is going to be possibly other people joining me on the podcast eventually. I'm not sure of that, but I have some pretty cool folks in my life who are much more specialized in certain things like gaming, sexuality, other stuff. So there might be some cool little things mixing it up. And on to more depressing news. I thought, as everyone is pretty much involved in this corona life right now, the coronavirus. So for anyone who's listening who is maybe not as comfortable with medical literature, who hasn't been in the health sphere for a long time, who's just kind of freaking out. They're stuck at home. They don't really know what's happening and they're not sure who to follow. Just some side notes. If you want to understand really what the governments actually know, and what some legitimate uh, doctors who have been looking through the research and actually trying to figure this stuff out, how you should be thinking about it, how you should protect yourself. There are some cool people like Peter Attia. Rob Wolf has some pretty interesting stuff on his podcast. So there's the Healthy Rebellion radio podcast. So you can hear some of Rob Wolf's really interesting take. He's very like open-minded, like looking at all the different aspects of, how's this going to affect us, immunity, what's really happening with the vaccines. Peter Attia is even more detailed and really gets into that kind of stuff and how you should think about it. So I would definitely check out both their podcasts, and they have some stuff written up as well. Joe Rogan actually has had some really cool I'm blanking on the name right now, but he's had one or two people who are very much in the pathology studying of like viruses and epidemics. So he's had some good videos on there. And there's also Tim Ferriss, who's slightly obsessive. So if you check out the Tim Ferriss podcast, he's posted a ton of stuff on COVID. He's had a lot of people on there talking about it, not only from the psychology aspect, but also the science behind it and how we should think about it. So I would definitely, if you're someone who is unsure, who really wants to get some more solid advice and how you should think about things from every aspect, you check out those four and you'll pretty much be covered. And they're really funneling the good sources of information and then translating it well for us who aren't really in the field to understand. On my own thoughts, I think people need to simultaneously be more careful and cautious, but at the same time need to relax. And what do I mean by that? I mean that the things that are going to benefit you the most in regards to the coronavirus are the things that have always been the most important. And it's things that I talk a lot about in terms of benefiting you creatively, in terms of benefiting you, your health. It's just taking better care of yourself. This paranoia that, washing your hands and all that stuff is cool, but it's not something you can just do for the rest of your life, like anally wash your hands 97 times a day. The virus, it doesn't matter how much we quarantine ourselves, eventually we have to come out, and people are still going to grocery stores. You're going to interact with people. This virus is not going away. This flu is here to stay, just like the normal seasonal flu. It's going to come. People are going to catch it. The death rate is still, even though it's harsh because so many people have caught it, so there is a high death rate, but the percentage is actually very small. And the majority of people who are getting sick are people who are already sick in the first place, people who are not healthy in the first place, people who had respiratory issues, people who had metabolic issues, people who are overweight. Unfortunately, these things make a weaker system. So instead of panicking and thinking like, I gotta do this, I gotta cover myself. No, you have to think in your head, I'm going to probably catch this flu eventually. People in my family are going to probably catch this flu eventually. What can we do to protect ourselves? And that is get healthier. That means sleeping better. That means moving more, getting a lot of fresh air, a lot of sunlight. It means getting in shape, getting your lungs in shape. If you smoke and you have not had the motivation to stop smoking, now you have motivation. If you want to protect you and your family, stop smoking. If you are a heavy drinker, stop drinking. If you are someone who stays up till 3 a.m, takes shit care of yourself, this damages your entire system. Stop it. Create a better sleep cycle. Start jogging a little bit, start weight training a little bit. You don't need to be crazy in shape. You just need to be in decent health. And if you catch corona, you will survive it. You will make it through. Okay? This is the way you should be thinking about it. when you are being cautious about this, it means that now is the time to take better care of myself and my family. Uh, if you want to lead by example, so even if your family is not something like your wife and your kids or your girlfriend and your kids, however it is, it could be just your parents, it could be, you know, other family members. Well, if you take really good care of yourself, you lead by example, other people follow. Um, the relaxing part of this scenario is the fact that, ties into what I said before. We are all going to most probably catch this flu at one point or another, in the same way that most of us have had the normal flu at one point or another. And you don't need to be even if we do eventually get a vaccine, this could take 12 to 24 months, if not longer. And that's even then, even if the vaccine is made, there's no guarantee that there's not going to be problems with it, that it's even going to work, that it might not cause other more severe issues. So you need to think of this as though there's no vaccine, that you're going to catch it and you want to be as strong as possible so that you can beat through it. And then your system will have a natural immunity because you've caught the flu already. So that's how you have to think of it. Do the best you can, and panicking and stressing about you or a family member getting sick is not going to help you or your family. You all just need to be cautious and taking better care of yourselves. Think of this as a motivating factor. It's the best way, the most optimistic way, the most positive way to think about it. And also just be optimistic in general. Even for many people who catch it when they're elderly, it doesn't usually lead to death. It's only when those people have already existing medical issues before. So obviously this is complex. Some people have severe medical issues that it's not just like I change my diet, it goes away. But talk with your doctor, check online, work with the best you can, do the best you can, and again, stay optimistic, stay positive. I mean, being negative and making yourself feel worse is not going to help your system be strong and be able to handle this if you do catch it in the first place. So again, these things, it all ties together. You want to have the most positive, focused mindset that you can right now. Now, obviously, there are other things that go into this as well. Obviously, people are scared because of the financial situations, the economy, and there's a lot of people online saying now's the time to, study something new, learn something new, make yourself be a better in your job market or whatever it is, so that with how the economy comes in, you can add more value to it and you can make money. I think there's truth to that. Uh, if you just sit in your home and just act enraged or depressed and don't actually try to improve the, the possibility that you get a good job or you can at least transition to another kind of job in the moment, you're not helping yourself. But it is completely understandable. Some people are just really depressed, really scared, really sad, especially if a family member or someone has recently passed or they're sick and all these things are happening. So don't be hard on yourself if you're not in tip-top shape, but you want to try the best you can to mitigate the negative effects of this. Uh, so try again to stay as positive as possible, no matter how difficult it is. Reach out to friends, reach out to family, reach out to some random person on the internet who has always like motivated you and inspired you, and ask them for advice. You'd be surprised how kind people are being in this instance. Some people are taking advantage, granted. Some people are just using this as a way to make money and take advantage of people's fear. And those people will be held accountable once this gets under control. They will be held accountable, and they will not be in the mainstream no more after. So that's something, again, positive to look forward to. All the assholes who are taking advantage of the situation for their own monetary benefit. So that's pretty much all I want to say on Corona. Anyone who's out there, if you want to reach out, if you want to talk, if you need a helping hand in any way, if you need advice or guidance on how you can best improve your situation, I am more than happy to lead you to the people I find inspiring, who I find are really, really up to date and looking to the future when it comes to these things on every basis, whether it's financially, whether it's health-wise, whether it's creatively. There's a lot of really awesome people out there. And yeah, I'll keep it short today. Leave it to just Corona talk. And as I said before, we are now on Spotify. We are now on iTunes. So you can find links down below and check those out if you are more of an audio person. And that's it. I'm a little bit tired today. So I will be most probably relaxing the rest of the day. It has been a pleasure as always talking to everybody. Stay positive, stay healthy, stay geeky, and have fun in your quarantine as much as you can. There is a lot of fun stuff on the internet, a lot of fun things you can do, like napping. There's nothing wrong with napping. It's good times.